And the player spawned in, having a look. Black looks okay. Team Orange looks okay. Black has. No, I think this is fair. Are you happy with these spawns?
I'm happy with these spawns. I mean, Orange has good clusters there. I'm surprised nobody took the multi-planet spawn choice.
No, they're not allowed. They have to go on the moon.
Gotcha. I did not realize that was a rule.
That's a bit of complication. But let's start. Hello and welcome, guys. This is the final of Taxman's 2v2 tournament, where JumboJimbotron and Drunken have fought their way through the losers bracket to fight against Klops and TheWrongCat, who are currently undefeated in this tournament. Taking a look at the spawn positions, both teams spawning apart. Team Orange here going for a first air to get that early scouting intel. Great little spawn for this player at the south for Orange. And a little further north, a solid position with some metal around him. Looking at the black players, this guy here on the equator. It doesn't have too much metal available to him, but he will need to expand quite a bit, perhaps towards the south, towards that other Orange player. And then the other black player has a very nice area of mechs immediately next to him, just to the left of his base. But I think the black players definitely need to expand a little bit here. And I think we'll take a little look out at this system as well. We have two orbiting planets here, and they're going to orbit through each other and phase through each other every 15 minutes, as we will see here. We've got an ice planet with a decent bit of water, a whole load of metal in the water there as well. And if we look at the lava planet, there is some lava there as well. And both planets are smashable with 3 Halleys.
Quite a bit of scouting has been done already. If we just go ahead and take the view of Orange, you can see that they're actually just flying over the black base in the first place there. And then let me just look around, and they've found both bases. Switching over to the perspective of the black players, they have not scouted the Orange players, either one as far as I can tell. So they've got a little bit behind on the scouting effort so far.
But we've seen that many times already in this tournament. Jim and Reaper tend to go for their air factory a little bit later than average, and they do have their first scout coming off the ramp now and beginning to expand for them. Gamper's right in the middle of Black's base here, killed an engineer and now working on a mechs. Commander kind of moving to deal with them, but he's going to be walking quite a way. This is quite a slowdown in his early game build. Having to deal with that. A couple more
docks coming through as well, and a bomber takes out one of the fabricators and one of the spinners, so he actually got away with a lot there.
Bombers coming out from Team Klops and TheWrongCat as well. Managed to kill those expanding engineers out the back of that base. Pretty big, important win. Fighter, however, coming in to deal with it. It just passes by, but it looks like it managed to get that hit off as well and take care of that bomber. Pretty important defense there. 2 more bombers and a third on the way as well for Team Orange, so a lot of early bomber harassment, which can be particularly powerful. See if they can get some more wins with these guys. Anti-air bot there to defend this engineer, but it's not going to be there in time. And both of them get taken down. Big wins there. Bomber, however, gets chased down. This one on his last legs. Go ahead.
And you know, the Orange team is still pulling ahead in terms of overall metal, just a little bit. Very similar, actually, between the two of them. And then on the Army tab, we can see that Orange has more units, more fabbers, fewer factories, but overall, about the same amount spent.
Not too much between the teams as of yet.
So, Zayfod, what do you think about the multi-planets? Like, here we are, they're on a moon, it's not that big, you know, who's going to take the time out to build an orbital factory and, like, try to escape the planet?
It's a good question. The planet is pretty small, as we can see. It's quite close quarters. You could easily have a situation where no one left the planet. However, I think really, if you feel like it's slipping away from you ever so slightly, it's actually a pretty strong move to go into orbital and get off this planet, because they're orbiting, right? So it takes a very short amount of time for an Astraeus to move off planet, which means you can get on there and start getting a payoff with more metal available to you pretty quickly. So think it would be a strong move, if possible, to try and get into orbital for either team.
More harassment coming in by Orange to the black base. They're taking out a bunch of spinners here, actually, with their docks. And, yeah. Just to respond to that, I agree, like, if it starts to slip, it makes total sense to just try to get away while you can. And then if you can sneak it into your build at some point, it can be pretty powerful, because if you get an opportunity to expand kind of unobstructed, the money you generate as a result can really change things for you. Orange building a laser tower very close to black space. If they get this completed, and it looks like they're going to, because they've got some defenders like in the way, they can really like take over a bunch of territory here. Oh, they stopped it just at the last second. I don't know why they did that.
It was an accident. Oh dear.
Oh, there it goes. They finished it. They're gonna get now they're just gonna clean up all this stuff, and they're gonna take out at least one of these metals. Probably. Yeah, there's another one.
So it's kind of interesting to see in this game. Black, Team Jim and Reaper have tended to do quite a lot of early aggression, but it's actually been Orange that's been doing all the aggression here. And if we look at the progression through the tech tree, Orange now have a T2 air factory assisting for T2 bombers. We've seen a whole load of gunships, but they're electing to go for bombers, which is nice. Looks like they've gone bombers into gunships, however. And looking over at Team Black, they have also got T2 air out, working with 2, 4, 5 engineers on that now. But Team Orange also has a T2 vehicle factory, which is nearly out. So they have really gone hard on the T2 right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things. It's like, when do you decide it's time to bail off the planet? Not that the Uber internal players are particularly outstanding, but Iniferator also, DJ is one of our best players, and I've often seen him like take that situation and escape, and then come back and like annihilate or otherwise win the game as a result. Now, a lot of times our games are free-for-alls, and it's very different in free-for-alls. When somebody leaves the planet and you've got other people to deal with, it's often extremely distracting to try to manage that. And then just a raiding set of Kestrels like run out here. These gunships are just picking off the incoming armies.
Yes. It's absolutely a different type of game. Looking at the eco here, power is identical between the teams, and Team Black actually leading at 270 to 240 in terms of medal. So still not much between the teams, and Team Black doing a fantastic job of map control, now attacking Orange from behind their base. Massive overcharge goes off, kills all of their scampers, which is pretty unfortunate for Black, but also coming in on the north, getting rid of some of that medal, and really pushing them ahead in terms of the medal. When you take care of a couple of mechs like this, you start getting wins and start putting ahead in terms of medal, and you can translate that into moving further ahead.
Yeah. Now, there's a nice little defended, walled off kind of proxy static defense here that Orange has made near the black base at the equator, and he's put up a couple towers and a radar and a bunch of walls. I feel like this would be a good time to lay down a pelter and maybe start, you can tower creep, you can do a lot of things to just become extremely distracting and annoying to the black player.
That's an annoyance. The only thing I would do is move that engineer that's quite close by, because one engineer is very slow, 2 engineers is quite acceptable. But the one advantage of building this, not only have you stopped a route for your opponents to come at you, you've also completely denied building those 3 mechs, and you're only going to be able to build them when you've completely got rid of that entire area.
That's right. And from a similar perspective, one pelter by Black would take that whole thing out no problem. Shoot right over the walls to kill the towers and the light radar and everything inside there, and you can finish off the walls later. Actually, the easiest thing to do is after the dangerous towers are taken down, is just send out some fabricators and reclaim those walls. They're only 25 metal. Reclaiming them is super fast. It's interesting how little you see people take the time to reclaim walls, enemy walls, but it's actually extremely effective.
Oh, and so it begins. We see Helicons, the T2 transports coming out, and Vanguards as well. We're going to see a Vanguard drop. Klops and RLM have shown it to be incredibly effective before. We even saw an Astreus Vanguard drop earlier on, and we're going to see that in this game.
That is awesome. I love that.
It is.
And here they go. they getting picked up. They're swarmed up there with the. Ooh, they're actually a little bit in the lead there. A little rearrange happening, I think. And yep, there we go. Now they're well
Coming in
protected on
against
the
Peregrines.
inside.
Peregrines coming in straight out, and the Peregrines know that they're there. A couple of those get taken down with just 2 Vanguards now. Looks like they're going to get dropped though. And so painful, picked up by the Peregrines.
Yeah, the Peregrines did get picked off before they managed to land.
So relatively good defense there. To be honest, it looked like they tried to drop, and there's a bit of a glitch where sometimes they just don't drop immediately and they glitch out a little bit. It looked like that was what happened.
That was unfortunate for them. Yeah, that was a really critical moment, and they still have the opportunity to do it again. Like it's not one of those things that just because it's possible or know that they're even thinking about it, you can just automatically stop it. They could just choose to drop kind of the end of that conga line of energy plants, and then they could just work their way in. Taking out 600 power per energy plant on their way in, and who knows how far they're going to get. So they really want to notice these 3 tanks and 5 docks.
I was thinking as well. It's a bit of an unusual thing. Having a look at oranges, we do see a decent little force of scampers has managed to move in here. Would be nice if they could take out some of that T2 metal, because Team Orange really need to pull ahead on the metal front. They've been working pretty hard on T2 Eco. Gunship here coming in to clean up these scampers. And also the scampers will get taken down before they can do too much damage.
Yeah, and a little black raiding force on the other side in terms of docks as well. Take out a few, 5 metal extractors actually. Pretty good win there, I would say. And the black team still a bit behind in metal, and both teams still fairly even on the energy production.
Nice little raiding group of scampers just went through and destroyed 6 T1 metal extractors, which has started evening up the metal states, which is nice. And I think in this stage, there's quite a bit of metal that Black hasn't been building. And oh my god, in the back of Black's base, we see 2 Vanguards walking straight through, another 3 behind them actually walking past the walls. And this is really dangerous for Team Black. They absolutely have to deal with this. It's going to be hard to do it with just scampers. They're probably going to have to rely on air units for this.
So this was the... use the Vanguard to pick off the conga lines of energy plants that I was talking about earlier. They should just ignore those docks. They can't chase them down, but every time they even get close to one of those energy plants, they can kill it. And they can't outrun the bots. They're just too slow. So they should do what they can.
But the bots are walking straight into that Vanguard. There's 3 of them, and all of them go down. What a tragic mistake. Those sniper bots really would have helped to get rid of those Vanguards.
And that Vanguard, if he had been just a tiny bit closer to those energy plants, he would have wiped out every single one that he went by. I mean, it was probably only 3 or 4, but it's still significant energy production. Like 3 energy plants is 1,800 of the energy per second, and that's maybe 4% of their energy. So that's all still substantial.
I've got to admit, from a caster's perspective, and I imagine a viewer's one as well, Vanguards as a unit are super exciting to watch, because it's really tense and stressful how far they'll get into your base, and then once they get in there, the damage they do is incredible. It's really exciting to watch Vanguards and see what they can do. Yeah,
Skathis, like, he had... Before they even ever came out, he had talked about what they were going to be. He said they're going to be slow, they're going to be tough, and they're going to do tons of damage if they ever get close to your base. And a testament to him that he was able to. He had this vision for what they were going to be, and that's what they really are. It's like they're not. It's funny. They're strong without. I don't think they're OP, because look how hard it is. He's been trying to get these Vanguards in to actually kill these things, and it's been really tough. Now he's finally done it with 10 or 15 of them, so not that surprising. Again, I don't understand why he moves them away from the side there. Oh, he was going to go for that turret, but it's just one of those things where it's like it's a delicate balance issue to make sure that they're if they were 20% faster, they'd probably be just too strong.
Oh, yeah.
And if they were 20% slower, they'd probably be just too useless. But the way they are now, they're this super exciting unit that can have a significant impact, or can just flop when you don't use them right. So
I think the thing is, you're sending in your vanguards, and a lot of them will die, and a lot of them will do no damage. But if you send in 20 vanguards, and 1 or 2 get in, they can pay for the rest of the 20 vanguards. They can do so much damage once they get in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's one of those things you can afford to lose a lot, but once you get a win, you get a big win.
But here's the, like, look again in the same place. You've got about.
We see an orbital started by Orange here. 4 engineers building it, so we finally see that first switch up to orbital. And unfortunately, it's not from the losing team right now. This is one of the sort of things I really would have recommended for Black to do. Black have in fact invested in an anti-nuke, which is the perfect thing to go for right now, as well as a nuke which is actually halfway through. So we're going to see a rush here for nukes and orbital. This is quite an interesting playoff.
Yeah, back at the base of Black that we've been looking at with those Vanguard incursions. It's now happened again, but they've done a critical difference is they've brought in a couple of levelers and a couple of shellers to go with it. And that is an extremely effective combination. Like, the Vanguard's exciting and powerful by themselves, but when you bring in the shellers and the levelers behind them, the Vanguards soak up tons of damage, and then the shellers and the levelers, like, mete out tons of damage. And even the Vanguards are now getting in there this time because he had enough of them that they're just, like, doing a ton of devastation here. But the shellers and the levelers clear out the other elements of the base and provide that, you know, if those had just been slightly closer together, the Vanguards and the other units, I think it would have been more effective. But look how far they've gotten in, and they're just hosing down the whole place with those flames.
Nuke has been launched. It's not a defensive nuke. It's coming straight in Orange's base, but this is going to cause so much damage just here as we see these units coming through. I'm not sure what Black is going to do as they come through. Looking at this nuke launch as well. And the commander's actually sitting there with the Vanguards getting a little bit close.
Yeah, the command. Yeah.
So an interesting nuke strike managed to take out a lot of T2 men. I'm not sure whether it really gives them the win. So many Vanguards coming forward. If the commander doesn't move pretty soon, he's in a lot of trouble. They're coming pretty close. A lot of Uber cannons coming off, managing to get them down pretty low. A couple of turrets would help right now. And it looks like we don't quite have enough Vanguards. Commander is moving just about in time. Vanguards just steamrolling through, beginning to get pretty low in numbers. As long as they can take out that nuke, they definitely get a good win. Nice Uber cannon there, taking them out. 2 Vanguards coming close to this nuke. Will the nuke go down? The nuke is very, very close. Nuke goes down, and those Vanguards definitely pay for themselves there.
Yeah, look at that. Like, just scroll out for a little moment and look at through all the devastation. That's giant. Yeah. Like, look at how much damage that was done. Yeah. Like, that was the kind of damage you expect from a nuclear missile. And yet, yeah, exactly, everywhere. And yet, it was all done with like just tier 2 tanks. And here's another round of them coming in. This time they've brought anti-air, so they can't just be taken out by Kestrels or bombers. And I think this is going to, like, come right through and probably finish this section of the Black base.
Zooming out to orbital, I don't see anything moving into orbital yet, but at the other Black base, we do see they have finished an orbital launch, and they're currently fabricating a stress, working on that anti-nuke as well. It looks like it's nearly finished for them, so that makes them a little bit more secure, but they've lost a lot of ground in a lot of areas. Vanguard drops coming in as well, with Pelicans loaded up with Vanguards. It looks like they're actually going to come into support in here, and they're going to be dropped immediately on the sniper bots. We see the glitch again. They don't seem to be dropping. It looks like they've tried. They're successfully dropped. Now going to try and chase down these sniper bots and be picked up again and potentially dropped again on the other side. Them works very nicely with pickup and drops on units that are not protected by anti-air. That's really nice, that technique.
That was very good. Like, they've given mobility to Vanguards, which is, of course, a very terrifying concept. Now, there's a nuke that's like 80% done in... Oh, it's actually a nuke launcher that's 80% done right there on the orange base next to where those sniper bots were coming in. They've kind of abandoned it, and now the commander and the... Oh, now they're finishing it, but you can see that there's a potential for the orange team to start participating in the nuke work as well. Back in the Black base, the big Tier 2 army of tanks has come through, and there's just a huge line of double-barreled lasers turrets that are nailing those Vanguards. I think that line is basically unapproachable. It should really only be taken out by shellers. And, you know, orange players also agree they're moving... What's that?
Shellers and air units, for sure.
Shellers and air units. It's just too... It's not worth approaching, but the shellers can just take care of it.
Vanguards. Because you don't even need to take out those turrets. It's not going to help you. Having a look at this Astraeus. The Astraeus has been finished now. I don't see anything in the orbital yet. I'm going to zoom out because I'm not sure whether it shows it.
I have my picture-in-picture up. I haven't seen anything.
I have it up as well, but I haven't seen anything going to orbital yet. But they finished the Astraeus from Team Black. I think it's hovering above it. It's going to get the commander out of here, which I think is a wise choice. Get the commander the hell out of there. But of course, you have to be a little bit careful. You don't want him to get caught out by some orbital fighters.
Yeah.
Also
so
finishing an orbital Faber as well.
So there's actually an orbital fighter that was just finished by the black player. So, you know, right now with 433 metal versus 601, I feel like black is behind. It's not obvious or clear, but you know they did manage to like nuke the orange base, but the orange base did manage to pretty much wipe out that black base with just those tanks. So there's a lot going on. There's an Astraeus hovering over the orange base, and then there's like, you know, black could really bring their new Astraeus of their own over to the orange base and maybe pick off that Astraeus. And they are now working on an orbital fabrication bot. So they may be taking the safer route of building a teleporter on each end and sending the commander through the teleporter. It's also useful because
he's just been picked up, however, from Team Black, and we can see him moving to the lava moon Hellfire.
Oh, okay, so that's the black player who's escaped, all right, which is great. Like, I think that's a very good move on their part. And black actually has quite a few sniper bots. There's this giant army here. Where is that? Well, at their remaining base, towards the south of it, in fact. And Orange has also picked up their commander, and just looking at the orbital view in my picture-in-picture, can't quite. Looks like they're following the black player to the lava planet. I don't know if they're aware of each other. I haven't seen deep space radar on either team, but I haven't looked that closely for it.
Yeah. We also see black has pinged the nuke launcher for Team Orange. They know it's there, and that nuke is actually really fast approaching being finished. But black actually have their nuke finished. They may be able to get it off just before. We'll see what happens. This nuke launcher is just over 90% for Team Orange, but the nuke has been launched from Team Black, and I think they're going for Team Orange. This could be a really critical win in terms of the game if this nuke lands. Black could make an incredible comeback as their sniper bots are just on the outskirts of this nuke as well. As soon as that nuke launches, we're going to see a lot of moves.
Oh, they did get the nuke off!
Oh, that's incredible! And it comes into defensive nuke against these sniper bots as well. So the sniper bots will be able to completely rampage over that base. What an exciting little event just there.
That was so huge. The black team killing their nuke and a bunch of their base. The orange team forced to defend with that defensive nuke just at the last second. And now that's actually probably the most exciting outcome because it's very equalizing for the team. Now the orange team is now bringing in their tank swarm, a bunch of vanguards in the black base. They're piling in. There's several turrets here that are shooting them down, but they're so tanky with those vanguards. Everything's being put on them, and yet the vanguards are just coming in and hosing down everything and killing the turrets. Now they're off to the energy plants, and there's still another swarm just to the north of them, near the North Pole, of additional tanks coming in. So even after they clean these up, the problem is not solved.
I think, really, with the sheer DPS values, you've absolutely got to go T2 gunships because they have huge DPS, but they're being surrounded by a force to the east-hand side now. They're really going to start losing everything. I think this might be the sort of situation where you actually need to get the commander off planet because it looks like their base is going to be going down here.
Yeah, this is enough tanks coming in from every side that they could just get completely rolled. They've got their anti-nuke, so they've been relatively safe at this base, or they may have felt relatively safe because of that, but they just, like, there's so much stuff coming into their end now, and I don't see any way for them to respond in time.
Yeah, I think the nuke isn't going to be finished in this state. You could potentially keep your T2 gunships and just hope for a snipe of the commander on this planet. We do see a ping there from Team Orange with the nuke launcher, but they're going to get rolled over here. Looking at the other planet, we do see Black has dropped the commander, building up a little bit, but they're not going to have any eco. There's one orange commander here that can be taken out, and he's actually on very low life as well, but without the eco, it is going to be very hard to try and make an incredible comeback here.
Yeah, Orange is not really paying attention to the other planet, so it depends on how long they focus on. Like, really, they need to just die as slowly as possible on the first planet. If they can die slowly, then they might have a chance to, like, rebuild and cause trouble on this other planet. Now, The orange commander has woken up and started to build a vehicle factory, and the commander here is building first a bot factory, then an air factory. He's going to scout it out, try to see what's up on this planet, but it's kind of a very tense situation for them.
Everything is getting absolutely crushed on the main planet. They're trying to get a teleporter out, but it's not going to be out in time, and I think they've pretty much lost everything. We're going to see that eco go almost to nothing here.
Yeah, they're already down to 145 versus 500, and I think that commander's actually just going to die. You can see the lobs coming in. It's going to just... Well, we can watch it play out. Oh, they're calling GG. They know that they can't recover that far. Very good final game. TheWrongCat and Klops going completely undefeated in this tournament. Yeah. Really well played by them.
Really quite an incredible run. Really well played too.
Super duper.
It was a really interesting final. Even though Orange had an advantage, I feel there are certain points in that where Black could pull something really crazy out the bag that would really turn it around, and the eco was very back and forth between the two teams quite a while as well.
Yeah, I also feel that if the Black players had made their escape to the other planet, 5 minutes ago, who knows what could have happened in terms of, like, spreading out on that planet, like, building up some eco that was not really under attack or under threat of the orange players, and then trying to hold them off outside of that. But at the same time, any more resources devoted to that effort might have taken away from their ability to get that nuke in to their base or build those advanced bots, snipers. So really tough game.
It's easy for us to say with hindsight and from a caster's perspective that they maybe should have gone orbital a bit earlier and tried to get off planet, and that could have helped them a lot. But all the eco that you invest in that orbital means that you die quicker on the main planet and find it much harder to maintain the main planet. So it's a difficult choice, but I think Team Orange played very solid, and TheWrongCat and Klops just played very solid throughout the tournament and managed to remain undefeated. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, very good job.